Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again this Tuesday night to the Pugilist Corner, presented by the Dog Pound. We can get all our little commercials out of the way. Let me let me make sure. Uh, uh, okay. All right. I was just, as I was saying, getting some of the little commercial stuff out of the way. As you can see, this gear that I'm wearing, you can get this at K9 Boxing. Go over there and look, just hit the link and K9 Boxing Gear. You can get your all of your boxing gear. Also, if you want to support the program, you can go to our Cash App. $ JE King. I have a very special program tonight, and I'm featuring three young men that have all, they're all from the state of Minnesota, and they've all had interactions as opponents and as well as friends. And I see Mr. Plant is in the building. Good evening, Caleb. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh man, hey, weather out here in California is nice, so I'm good. How's everything in your neck of the woods?
Good, man. I see that. I see that Steelers flag behind you, and I appreciate it, man. I'm a diehard Steelers fan, so I appreciate it.
Oh man, yeah, now I've probably been a Steelers fan almost twice as long as you have, but you know, but yeah, I moved here from Pittsburgh, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
So yeah, always been a Steeler fan. Um, I was hoping that I'm trying to get Willie and Cerresso, Serrano on the phone. I mean, into the show. But are you still in Minnesota right now?
Yep, I'm still in Minnesota. Been here my whole life, pretty much, and don't plan on leaving, man. So I'm a Minnesota guy through and through.
Well, I guess that would relate to Pittsburgh. Not quite as much snow in Pittsburgh, but
Nah.
we we do get a little cold now. Are you a skier?
No, hell no, man. I enjoy the winter, but I do a little ice fishing. That's about it, man. That's the only thing I do out in the winter besides shovel my driveway and get out and go ice fishing. That's about it, man. No skiing or no winter sports for me.
Well, no, I remember having you on the show one time, and you had said that you had just got finished shoveling your driveway. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was I think your first time on the show with us. I was kind of looking at your career here, and uh, I don't know if a lot of fans know it, but you actually started this out as a. Oh, I see. Is that Willie? What's going on there, Willie? Can you hear us? No, you're muted. We can't hear you.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
There you
Hey, what's
go.
up,
There
buddy?
you go. What's going on, man?
Everything cool.
So I was talking about how Caleb had got started in the ring, and Caleb, you actually started out in a tough man contest, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's how I first was introduced to boxing when I was like, I think I was either 19 or 20 years old, and did a tough guy. Actually, did two tough guy contests, and then transitioned into amateur boxing. After that, like I was an amateur for about 3 years, and had like I want to say like 35 amateur fights, and then moved on to the pro ranks, and I've been a pro for almost 16 years.
Yeah, including being a world champion, but we'll talk about that a little further down the line. Uh, Seems like we had lost Willie, but what are you doing now, Caleb?
Still training, man. I'm hoping to get a fight schedule that I want to fight a couple more times and before I hang them up. But yeah, training every day. I just left the gym and got home a little while ago, and been having a hell of a time getting anything scheduled. Um, I had a fight schedule over in Germany, and COVID kind of nixed that. So just waiting for something else to come up, and like I said, want to fight one or two more times, maybe three more times, and then hang them up.
Uh, uh, Willie, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. Phenomenal, bro. Just out. I was on some daddy duties earlier, so
That's what I'm
Oh,
on too, man. Trying to get these kids to bed.
yeah, that's what I just got through doing. Making sure they're showered up and in the bed.
yeah. See, I used to live out on in Pittsburgh, as I was telling Caleb. But man, I never enjoyed my extra 3 hours so much. It's like uh, hey, my late Sunday night football game is at 6 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, everybody back east is in bed and getting ready for the next day, and I can still chill out and go and have the dinner and whatnot. I do enjoy my extra hours. I have to admit that. Uh, Willie, how did you make your introduction into boxing?
It was pretty much family business for me. You guys know my great uncle B. Marvin Hagler, the Afro-Cuban heritage in my family. That it was just I was more or less born into it. My father was a top middleweight and super middleweight in the '90s, late '80s, and early '90s. And then we have my great uncle. He was a top middleweight and beat Hagler in the '70s. So I was just born into it. Just grew up around it. Had my first fight when I was like 7, and I had 142 amateur fights. I had 3 national titles. Um, Turned pro 24-3 now.
Now, is there some common string that leads you guys to boxing? I mean, here, like I said, you came in via a tough man contest where there were very little rules. It was more like a street fight from the tough man contest that I've seen. So, I mean, is there a special gene or conditioning, like you said, Willie? I mean, for you, it was kind of like family business.
Mm-hmm.
How, Caleb, how did I mean, what was it? The thrill of the crowd? I mean, what was it first of all that made you enter a tough man contest? Because usually there's no structured weight class.
Yeah, well, yeah. My beginning is the opposite of Willie's. Like he said, it was family business for him, and for me, I was an athlete my whole life growing up, and played football and baseball and basketball, everything. But I didn't know that boxing was even available to kids in my area in Minneapolis. And once finding out that it was available, I joined up and did the tough guy tournament, and that wasn't until I was it was either 19 or 20, but it wasn't that well publicized in my area, and I always wanted to be like I said, a baseball player or a football player growing up, and just I think it's just competition, man. Like Willie probably speak that too, just like the drive to be in front of a crowd and just doing your thing, and me playing team sports growing up, that's one thing, but like being being in boxing where it's man on man and just a single sport, it's something completely different. And once I got a taste of that, it was over for me.
Well, you actually played what, Division II football, was it?
Yeah, and at Virginia State University, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it hadn't have been for what happened in football, you might have never been into boxing. Is that correct?
Yeah, if I wouldn't have hurt my knee and uh, not been able to play football no more, I might have played football. Just graduated. I wasn't going to be an NFL player or nothing like that. I might have played football and graduate college and just went on to the next phase of life. But um, yeah,
Minnesota, man, you're right there next to the CFL. Hey, you
yeah,
never get judged.
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have went to the Canadian Football League one, but probably not, man. I was good, but good enough to play college football, but I wasn't gonna take it to the next level or nothing like that.
Got to get you to beat up on these football players that want to box right now.
Oh man, I'm trying to
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson. He's a Viking, you know what I mean? And I'm a Steelers fan, and Bell is a Steeler, man. I might have to go out there and whoop both of
Yeah, right.
them.
Hey, what do you guys think about uh, Paul and the influence that he's had in boxing? Because actually, I'll tell the truth. I first kind of viewed it as a joke, a publicity stunt, but then he started giving like what he gave $1 million to the fighters on his undercard. He's starting, a promotion. But do you think that Paul was good for boxing as far as uh, putting the sport in front of the fans, especially after COVID?
Go ahead, man.
I mean, I'm pretty much on the fence with it, but boxing is forever evolving, so you can't really expect boxing to be what it was in the yesteryears. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure if any old school fighter from the 70s or 80s, looked at how we handle boxing in the 2000s, they'd be like, you guys are nothing like us. So there's this next generation that's coming in. It's not going to be like the generation of ours that's sort of leaving out, but at the same time, um, I would like to see some more authenticity kept in the sport as far as gladiator athletes, because it looks like some guys are just getting in there to get a payday, and I would like them to bring some authenticity back to boxing, but I do. I'm not opposed to those guys fighting because they do bring a different eye, a different crowd, a different demographic to boxing, which is needed if you're gonna. It's almost like music. If you're gonna cross over, you're gonna have to do a few different types of other types of songs to get those other crowds. So I get it, but I just pray that boxing stays authentic and true to the form of a true warrior sport rather than something that's almost pieced together like a script. you know.
What do you think,
Yeah,
Caleb?
I think I think those guys are clowns, first of all. But at the same time, like when it comes to Jake Paul,
They
he's
are
like
from
the nicest.
Cleveland. They are from Cleveland. I mean,
Yeah,
they're,
yeah.
you know,
I don't know. I don't know
Cleveland
what side of
clowns. You know
Cleveland.
what I'm saying?
I don't think that they're from the same side of Cleveland you're talking about. But
I,
I'm just about Cleveland. Period, man. Hey, I'm like I said, diehard Steeler fan, man. The only one in my
he's
family.
from
So everything
from
from
condo in
Cleveland.
downtown Cleveland or something like that.
Maybe
But
now, maybe now.
no, I think that I've had this conversation with on different podcasts and with my boys, just BSing over fights and stuff like that. Like for a guy that has only had 5 fights or 6 fights, whatever he's had, I think Jake Paul's not bad. You know what I mean? I think he's a fairly talented guy. Do I think he should be headlining Showtime pay-per-view cards? Absolutely not. But for a guy that's only had 5 fights, I think he can fight a little bit. And I'm not opposed to what he's doing as long as he's bringing new eyes to the sport, and especially as long as he's not taking away opportunities from other fighters who have put the work in and earned their due. And from what I gather, he's paying his undercard fighters really well, which is cool. And he's not taking away opportunities from actual boxers. So I'm with it, man. I can't hate. He's getting paid hella money to do what he's doing. People want to tune in to watch him. So hey, more power to him if he can get people to pay for him fighting against a basketball player or a MMA guy who's never boxed before. It is what it is.
If you got a call that said, "Hey, man, I want you to come and train me," how would
If I
you?
got a call and say, "Hey, man, I want you to come and fight me," I'll be a little bit more happy. But I'm
Okay,
trying to
all
get
right.
some of that Jake Paul money, man.
Willie, what would be your answer?
I'm with Caleb, man. I want to fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh man. So have you guys had any common opponents?
Uh, I don't know.
I don't think.
Uh, let's see.
Maybe. I'm
Well,
not sure.
yeah. Let's see. Well, let's let's do this. Let's Willie, you fought Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about his latest performance? And do you think that I know he said like he's not going to let Canelo dictate whether or not he retires, but what did you see?
I saw more highlights rather than the whole fight, but I mean, you know, I, I don't like to put a guy's age out there and say that. Um,
Well, I
eh,
mean, true. Everybody knows how old Triple G is. Well, not. I mean, as far as the record, but I mean, when you're talking about those guys, can Kazakhstan and
right?
Cuba, and I mean, how old is Luis Ruiz? Anybody know? You know, I think
Yeah,
I got shoes about that old, but I mean,
yeah. Well, I think it's probably just the wear and tear over the years, and their age, obviously, but the wear and tear also. If you've been fighting since a kid and you had 400 amateur fights and then all of these professional fights and a lot of them were tough, that wears and tears on your body. If you got a little bit of a later start, like Caleb or like a Sergio Martinez, things tend to last a little bit longer because you don't have those previous years of beating on your body, especially in that type of way. So, but I personally think, man, I think Triple G should hang it up right now simply to save his legacy because now he's just looking like food to all these other middleweights or super middleweights that will want a name like his on their record. So, I know no one wants to walk out on a loss. So, if he wants to pick he's earned that right to possibly pick a guy that could give him a little go, but he definitely walk out on a win and leave his legacy like that. He's earned the right to do that. But I think to keep fighting and to keep having something to prove, I don't think I wouldn't recommend it.
I think he's got nothing to prove, man. Like he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
The only person he's ever lost to is Canelo, who's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, what's his record? 30 something, two and one draw, and it's just like he's 40 years old. I'm 39, so I'm not gonna tell a guy to retire when he gets too old because I'm damn near as old as he is. But uh, like he just got nothing to prove, man. He's a all time great middleweight. Like when Willie fought him, he was like at the top of the game. He was a killer when Willie fought him. Willie gave him a tough fight, and uh,
I think that was what 2015 out here at in Inglewood, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, he was on top of the world at that time, and he's been on top of the game his whole career, basically, since he bust on the scene in America,
Yeah.
and that dude's made I don't know, $200 million. Like you got nothing to prove, man. Like
Yeah,
just hang them up and take care of your family and just ride off into the sunset and get your Hall of Fame plaque, man. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I ain't trying to see him. I wasn't even. I didn't even really want to see him fight Canelo this third time. You know, I was really hoping he pulled it off for the old guy. But I just didn't want to see him get hurt because I was kind of salty still that Canelo made him wait for 3 or 4 years or whatever it's been
yeah,
since the second fight, man. And he deserved the rematch right after the second, or he deserved the third fight right after the second fight in
yeah.
2018 or whatever it was. And there's nothing else to fight for at this point for him, you know.
Yep, I
Uh,
feel this.
Let's talk a little bit about Canelo. He trains out here in San Diego, and I was kind of surprised with the Mexican beef situation. Uh, knowing that, I mean, I didn't know that he was, leaving here and going down to Tijuana to have dinner, but it was what it was. But I thought for a while, especially when he fought Kovalev, that Canelo knew, like Willie was saying, I mean, I kind of felt that he cherry picked his way to make his legacy. Uh, this is why I thought that when he was fighting, before he even fought Bivol, I had said that there were two guys that he didn't want to get in the ring with, and that was Duvall and Benavidez, that's trained by Scully. Uh, so, uh, what did you think about those 3 years in between? Uh, he didn't fight Charlo. He didn't fight Boo Boo. He didn't fight Triple G. So I, I, I'm kind of shaky on those years there. I mean, what do you think? I mean, was this to make a legacy, or was it for good for the sport of boxing?
Um, I think at this point in his career, he can do whatever he wants, man. He's the money man, and everyone wants to fight him to get a career high payday. Uh, he's got one of the best resumes in boxing. You know, he fought Plant, he fought um, Callum Smith, he fought Bivol, he fought Billy Joe Saunders. Uh, he can do whatever he wants, man. He was a pound for pound #1 fighter in the world, and on top of that, he was fighting three times a year, which is more than most people fight. So I can't hate on that man. You know, he was one of the best fighters in the world, and he knew it, and he took his monetary advantage to and did what he did. You know, like I just can't hate on him. You know, I think that he was in a position to pick and choose who he wants to fight, when he wants to fight, just like Floyd Mayweather was for all those years, and that's what he did. You know, like if I was in his shoes, I'd probably do the same thing. Making
Yeah,
$45 million a fight to fight whoever you want. You fight who you want.
yeah. There were a couple lessons that he learned from Floyd, not just in the ring, but monetarily too. What did you think, Willie?
I agree with Caleb. You know, what I mean, he's done his thing, and he's been down. The only person I think that he definitely should fight or should have fought is Demetrius Andre. You know, Demetrius had been chasing him, since '54, and I know what it's like one time for them to come and say, "Congratulations, you beat this guy. You got the Canelo sweepstakes," and get it swept away from me. But that's hearsay. You look at Demetrius Andrade. That's happened 3 times. They've lined him up with a fight and said, if you win this fight, you beat this guy, you definitely got Canelo next. So beat the guy, be in his locker room like you got the fight, and here we are. You know what I mean? All these years later, still no fight between Canelo and Demetrius Andrade. So out of all of those guys you mentioned, I think the one who probably deserves this shot will probably be Demetrius Andrade. And if he doesn't get it, then Canelo can just keep doing what he wants to do because I think he's earned that right.
There's only three dudes that I like really want to see him fight, and that's Andrade, David Benavidez, and who's the other one? Charlo. Uh, I think those are the three top guys that are going to challenge him right now. Unless he moves up to 175 again, which I think is not a smart move. But I would love to see him fight any of those three.
Yeah.
And um, I mean, if he does, I think, and if he does and beats them, that would just like make his legacy even greater. But like I said before, man, he gets to pick and choose who who he fights because he's the one that brings in all the money, and everyone else is trying to win the Canelo sweepstakes.
Uh, do you think he should have a rematch with Bivol?
Uh, he ain't gonna win it if he does.
Another fight, guys. I'd like to get your opinion on is uh, Anthony Joshua and Usyk.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think that Joshua had a chance to win the rematch?
I say no. I called the first fight. It's tricky southpaws can give anyone can create an upset any night, and a guy with the background of Usyk, man, the skill level that he has. Um, I don't want this to come off as I don't want this to come off bad, but Anthony Joshua's never really been like a super skilled fighter to me. He's big, he's strong, he has some athleticism, but like super skilled and crafty is not something he's been. So I just thought, Usyk, I knew he would dominate again. Just too tricky.
Yeah, he's Usyk's just a better fighter. I mean, he's smaller, and I thought Joshua was going to win the first time around, just based on size. And then once that fight transpired, and Joshua didn't use his size, and Usyk was able to use his boxing ability, and even hurt Joshua, especially in the last round, he almost stopped him. I didn't think there was any chance that he was going to win the rematch. Like Usyk's just a better fighter in my opinion.
Isn't it wild that Sean Porter beat him in the amateurs? That's crazy.
Usyk must have been like 6 years old or something like that, man. Small as hell.
What do you guys think about Shakur Stevens, man?
Oh man, I think he's one of the best fighters in the world. Like I wouldn't put him on my pound for pound list right now because he hasn't really earned that honor for the opponents that he's fought yet. But skill wise, he's a pound for pound fighter. Like he reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. And actually, I was just talking to my boy about this. I had some people over to watch the Canelo Triple G fight, and I was just talking about this on Saturday, where for me, like a professional boxer who appreciates subtleties and the skill in boxing, I love watching Shakur Stevenson because I know what he's doing. I can see what's going on in there. But for a casual fan, he's so good that it makes it boring for him to fight because he's just so good and nobody can hit him. And I think he's phenomenal, man.
What do you think, Willie?
I think the same thing. I think he's very, very skilled, and like Caleb said, he doesn't get the credit he really deserves as a fighter because he's so good, so skilled, so sharp. The casual mind, can't catch it, can't appreciate it. But I think he's definitely a phenomenal fighter, very skilled. Hope he stays focused.
What about Tank? What do you guys think about Tank?
I love watching him fight. He's explosive. That's who eventually I would like to see Shakur Stevenson fight Tank just to see, once he moves up to 135. I would love to see those two fight. I think he's explosive and has one punch knockout power. He's been fun to watch, man. He's one of the stars in the sport, and I would like to see him fight the best guys at 135 or even at 140, just to prove how good. I think everybody that knows the sport knows how good he is, and I just want to see him fight the best guys to prove it.
I think he's dope. I think he's dope, very explosive, very exciting to watch. Look like he's becoming a star. I just pray he stays focused. We all know Baltimore eats up, so I just hope he stays focused on a personal level. And if he stays focused, I don't see him being beat for a long time.
Now, from what I hear, Canelo's supposed to have wrist surgery, so he might be out of the ring for a while. So we have to see how that. Go ahead.
You said Canelo?
Yeah, yeah. Supposedly he's supposed to. He hurt his wrist, and he's supposed to be having surgery. So, we might. It might be a while before we see whoever he's matched up with. And like you said, with the amount of money he's made, it's not like he has to hurry to get back in the ring.
Right.
Okay. Now, supposedly, the papers are signed, and we're going to see Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Break that fight down for me, Willie. What does Earl have to do to beat Terrence, and what does Terrence have to do to beat Earl?
I mean, there's so many nuances to this thing. This is that answer to that age-old question: what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object?
You had a little physics, huh? A little physics in your background, huh, Willie?
I think first of all, we should all boxing fans, casual fans, fight fans, I think we all should appreciate the fact that undefeated welterweights hold all of the belts and willing to fight. This is something that all fighters are willing to do. People like to hop around and hide, and these guys are willing to put it on the line for a very long time. So we just have to appreciate and just truly live this moment that we have. Like, we're about to be part of something real special, being that we're alive during this time. You're looking at like Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns the first time, like that level of competition, that level of title on the line. So what would they have? Both of them have checks and balances that you could say that this guy would do this well, but then there's three other things that this guy could do to nullify that. And then if you say, well, this guy would do that well, the other guy has three other things that would truly nullify that. So truly a 50-50 fight. But from the outside looking in, you would Terrence is naturally the smaller guy, but you would expect him to use his movement a little bit more, because Errol is going to press. Errol's he's pressure. He breaks guys down. If Errol wants to win, he's going to have to use that pressure, and he's going to have to use it in a very skilled way, because if you make a mistake with Terrence Crawford, he is going to make you pay. And Terrence Crawford got that dog in him, so if you hurt him or drop him, hurt him, or hit him with something he don't like, that's just not going to make him wither away. That's going to make him fight harder. So it's a fight I honestly can't wait to see.
Caleb?
I agree, man. I was just talking about it at the gym a little bit earlier today about like the history behind it. Like Willie said, it's Sugar Ray Leonard versus Tommy Hearns 1, or Oscar De La Hoya versus Felix Trinidad. Back in the 2000s, just like two guys at the top of their game, undefeated and willing to put it on the line. And I really, really hope it happens. I wish it would happen, last year, but it sounds like it's going to happen, in November from what I've been reading. But it's a 50-50 fight, man. I could see it going either way. I'm a Terrence Crawford fan. He's a Midwest guy, and I've ran across him in the amateurs, way back in 2005, 2006. So I've had my eye on him since way back then. I think Spence is the more natural welterweight with a southpaw with a phenomenal jab, so that creates a problem for anyone. And Crawford, I believe, is the better boxer. He can switch it up, go right-handed or southpaw, and my heart wants to say Crawford, but my mind says I don't know, man. it's it's 50-50. That's one fight I wouldn't put money on. That's for sure. I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch it. I'm gonna watch it. That's for sure. But I wouldn't put it in on it just 'cause I don't know what's going on.
I'm second to that fight.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you, Caleb. My heart is with Terrence. But I couldn't. I don't know if I could put the rent money on it. It's like, yeah. Uh, but going back to what I was saying earlier, if Canelo does have this wrist surgery and he's out, what does that do? Do you think that we'll see a Chalo versus Boo Boo? Do you, I mean, Benavidez? What does this do for those three guys?
It might be a good thing. It might be a good thing for boxing if he has to take a break, because he's been fighting 3-4 times a year, and I think guys have been waiting on that Canelo payday, like I said before. So it might make everyone fight each other in the meantime to put themselves in a position to get the Canelo payday when he comes back. So hopefully it's a good thing for boxing, and uh, the best fight the best, and work things out from there.
Uh, what do you think, Willie?
I agree. I think it'd be. I think it would be. I think the promoters who are behind these fighters should actually press on that issue to create some type of hysteria for a strong opponent when Canelo comes off of this injury. When he makes his. So I think should be a strong made for those. In big fights that are make showcase who they are. Them fight each other. Let all of them get a fight. Well, I think Boo Boo and Charlo should definitely fight. Benavidez is a very, very big super middleweight, younger than both of those guys, and I personally don't, on a political side, I don't think Boo Boo should have to go in and fight a super big super middleweight after he came into the game at junior middleweight to even get a shot when he's been chasing these guys for years at junior middleweight, then middleweight. I don't think he should have to leap another hurdle and go up a whole nother weight class just to get a shot. I think somebody should make a case that the Carlos should fight him. Like why are you running? Should fight this guy. But these the promoters and the advisors and stuff have their own agendas. But I think if these guys made those two fights other, and then maybe the winner of those two would get Canelo when he comes back, I think that would be beautiful.
Um,
Hey,
Another.
hey guys, hey guys, I gotta bounce, man. I'm getting the evil eye. I gotta bounce. I gotta put the kids to bed, man. So I'll catch y'all later, man. I appreciate chatting with y'all. Willie, take care, man, and we'll see y'all
Hey,
later, man.
Okay, you got any social media, Caleb?
Yeah, at Golden Caleb T on Twitter and Instagram, man. I love interacting with all my fans and boxing people and talking about whatever. So at Golden Caleb T, hit me up.
All right, man. Glad to
I'll catch
have you,
y'all later,
man.
man.
Look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, man.
Willie, the last time we talked, we were talking about your program to help boxers, not just the ones that are coming up now, but also some of the uh, older fighters to make sure that they have something after boxing. How has that your program been going to help put boxers on a better financial foot?
It's been going good. I got about three solid fighters. That's confidential. I don't want to put their business out, but I got three different solid, definite fighters who have locked in. They've created their financial package. They've lined up investments. They've gotten their policies, and they're looking out for their kids, and they see the vision. I know it's going to be tough starting out. Getting more than these three fighters that I have on board, and obviously Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's gonna have to take some time for me, for my name, for the understanding of what I'm helping these fighters do be spread a little bit more. But I'm kind of happy the way it's going because it's allowing me to be able to practice. You got to remember, I just got my license maybe a little less than a year and a half ago. So it's still practice for me. And but it's going really well, and these guys they see the bigger picture of what's to happen later. I try to make sure I reiterated to him, look, worry, you should think about retirement first day you step on the field as a professional, and I finally got that through some of the one of the guys who's younger. I could tell you this, he's 8-0, and he's younger in his career, but he has that mindset, and he understands it, and he sees that he's going to be able to obviously make money as a fighter, but he also sees that if he doesn't and he keeps up this conditioning, I like to call it financial conditioning, the way a strength and conditioning coach would condition you to get stronger.
Okay.
He sees that the amount of money he'll have by the time he's 50, and he's excited about that. But he's still so young, so
Um, did you find that you know since people knew about you and your career, did you find that it was a lot easier for you to approach fighters about? I mean, usually that's something that you know, you never talk about money with your friends, or
right.
that's something that's usually very. How did you use your association as a fighter? How did you manage to break down some of the barriers to get beyond that?
Well, honestly, it was very tough at first because all of us fighters, especially after we fight, we make a little bit of money. We have loads and loads of people who come to us with a financial this and invest into this and flip your money that. And so when you go and talk to these fighters, the first thing in their mind, and I can empathize with them, is somebody wants something out of me. But I know my product enough to be able, I know it well, and I've studied it well enough to be able to explain it and translate it to them as to why it should be done. And I do that for anybody, not just fighters, but I would say fighters more than anything, because a lot of us come from impoverished places. We come from places where this education and this uh, it isn't even available. Much less abundant. It isn't even available. So it sounds like a different language, but how I get them, I don't want to say how I get them. That sounds bad, but how I get them to understand is I let them know. I say, look, they always tell us, they always say, oh, we never learned this in school, or they never taught us financial literacy in school. I said, what I'm showing you sounds nothing like school. School has gotten you as far as you are now. So if school has gotten you this far and you're not happy with it, if you try something that's the opposite of it, what will you get? It's common sense. You change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's just how the universe works. So if this information isn't equal to what you got in school, it's not supposed to be, because what they taught you in school has gotten you what you got now. This is to get you more.
Okay. Yes, I mean, it sounds very logical, but like you said, once you get the little money, everybody's coming at you with this scheme and that scheme, and I can triple your money in 5 years. I mean, all
Mm-hmm.
different kinds of things like that. But uh, what city do you live in?
Right now, I live in Kissimmee, the Orlando area, between Kissimmee and Orlando. You know,
Okay. Okay. Uh, I want to talk a little bit about the youth because one of the reasons why I wanted you guys on the show is to show that the accomplishments of guys in Minnesota.
Mhm.
It seems to be so much negative coming out about the things that are happening, and especially with the youth. Uh, do you think that why do you think it's harder to reach the youth nowadays than I mean, I know there are certain structures are gone away. As a matter of fact, let's start with the amateur program.
Mhm.
There are far less tournaments today,
Yeah, there.
uh, and it's becoming much more expensive. I mean, if you got to get on it, I mean, just think, if you live in California where gas is $5.25, and you got to, drive to Texas,
Mhm.
I mean, so uh, worse if you're getting on an airplane. What do you think about the state of amateur boxing today and the fact that boxing may not be in the Olympics?
Yeah, I heard that also. It's unfortunate. It's definitely in a state of I don't want to say turmoil, but it's definitely in a state of confusion. I remember in 2004 when they switched the weight classes. They were with three weight classes. It was 132, 139, 147, 156, then 165. They took 39, 47, and 56 out and shortened the weight classes to 52, 41, and 52. So they've been shortening things up with boxing for a while. Um, it's unfortunate, especially for someone like myself who really loves boxing and who's was able to be a part of a golden part of boxing. But I don't know. The amateur system is. It seemed like maybe it's not enough people who want to give energy to that. Because that takes dedication. That takes real dedication. That takes real love to be able. Because a lot of those programs that we grew up in boxing when we were kids were free programs, and boxing has become so monetized now to where it's hard for anyone to actually want to put any free time into it. Because I mean, you got people boxing in their backyards and sanctioning it, not sanctioning it with a sanctioning body, but paying people and making money off of backyard fights. And obviously, this isn't a new thing, but since the state of boxing, you know what I mean, something like a real skill or a real hardcore learning, like an amateur boxing program, is just like it's almost like out of the window. You know what I mean? Everybody thinks they can look on YouTube, know how to throw a few punches, and then they're all of a sudden they're world champion. So that focus, that drive, and you got to remember, boxing is it's kind of like I can't even say it's the poor man's sport anymore because it costs so much to even get to train for a fight. Even amateurs or you go to it costs a much more money to be part of a boxing fitness gym than just a regular fitness gym. You know,
Yeah,
so
and
boxing isn't even the poor man's sport anymore. It's kind of the rich man's sport now.
yeah. By the time you get a set of shoes, hand wraps, your headgear, and then of course you got to get your trunks. And I mean, come on, like you said, it's getting and like going to a tournament, that's a few $100s now, if not more, plus your entry fee.
Hmm.
But what is the incentive for amateurs if there's no Olympics at the end of the line? I mean that used to be like even if you came in you were a silver glove or golden glove or you know an open champ. The goal was to get to the Olympics and the that would be your moneymaker. That would make you the golden boy.
Right.
So if the Olympics are gone, what's the incentive now to get the young kids into boxing?
And that's the mystery that we're all gonna have to figure out. Excuse me, I'm taking my shoes off.
That's
Um, But yeah, that's the mystery we're gonna have to figure out because it's gonna. I guess the way we would figure that out is truly figure out the kids of this generation and see if it's something they want to do. Not to knock on the kids of the next generation, but some of them seem as physically tough as a lot of us were. You know what I mean, growing up. So it may not be a sport or a career that a lot of kids of this next generation kick into. We just don't know. But it's definitely an unfortunate state, for amateur boxing and kids because of the state of the sport. But it's not just boxing, that's just this evolution of the world. If you look at the music industry, any other sport, you know what I mean, any other thing that that can be considered a career. There's so many different people and so many different things happening now. Like who'd have known one day we'd always every most 80% of the world be working from home. Who would have known that video chat and Zoom would be a way to make a currency? But that's what's going on now.
Yeah, but I mean, there are certain things that like using the old expression, you can't play boxing. I mean,
Yeah.
you had there's conditioning. I mean, there's that state of mind that enables you, if you're a sparring partner, to take that ass whooping every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes for free. I mean,
Right.
you know, hey, like you said, I mean, it's a grueling sport, and you have to climb that ladder, and
Hmm.
you know, that ladder, each rung, although they're all going up, but they're each one is different. Like
Hmm.
but and you have to have that dedication, and
Hmm.
I'm not one to blame, rap the rap music or even video games, but I do think that this generation, and this might not be politically correct, but I think they're soft.
Could be. Could be. We could be a lot. We we're a lot less durable than our parents. You know what I mean? Like I would hear about my grandparents would tell us about the whoopings they were getting. I'm like, if I got that many whoopings a day, my skin would. You know what I mean? Like if the people up the road whooped you and then sent you home and you got another whooping, like yo, how could you live like that? you
Hey
know.
man,
So
hey, Grandma made me go out and pick the switches. And then,
right,
then she braided them up. All the
right,
while she braiding, she talking.
right.
This go hurt me more than it's gonna hurt you. But it, you know.
But
So
see, I don't. But that's your generation. I don't know if my generation would have been able to deal with whoopings like that. So yeah, I think as the generations go, they get a little, they get a little. I've been to a couple of the amateur fights and some of the national tournaments since I've turned pro, and I saw a huge change in the skill level. I saw a huge change in like, just how like. Now I remember guys getting knocked down too, like solidly, and if they get up, they good. But in the amateurs, by the time I turned pro and look back in the amateurs. A guy get caught with a shot a little too hard. The referee is quick to step in and give him an 8 count and stop it. So and obviously, with all of the studies that's been going on with a sport like boxing or football or anything that's going to involve head trauma, you definitely want to take these precautionary actions and be safe. But boxing isn't what it was yesterday, and it's not what it's going to be tomorrow. We're boxing, and just like anything else, is always a prisoner to the present. So I say we just enjoy every moment because when you look back in the past, there's always been a complaint about something. Well, these guys don't do this, or we don't have the heavyweights we used to have, or there's going to come a time 20 to 30 years from now where there's going to be a heavyweight where they're going to and he's going to mention Deontay Wilder's name. And the crowd then is going to say, you would never be able to be in. Deontay Wilder did this. Deontay Wilder did that. You could never hold Deontay Wilder's jockstrap. But they're not going to say that now because they don't give you your flowers until after you're gone.
yeah, well, yeah. If they say that about Deontay, I wonder what they're gonna say about Tyson Fury.
Yeah. But across the board, because I mean, when Ali, I talked to a older lady, you know what I mean, and me and her has sort of gotten. I want to say a argument, but we got into a debate about something that I stood on as a fighter. And you know what I mean? I said, think about it. You know, when Muhammad Ali stood out there and said he wasn't going to go fight any Viet Cong, and I said, he said that the Viet Cong never called me a nigga and this all that. I said, she was like, yeah, but he stood for civil. I said, I don't care whether he stood for civil rights, whether what I'm standing for is civil rights or not. I said, and that time of him doing it, he was considered wrong. They stripped him of his belt. They sentenced him to some time in prison. They didn't let him come fight. So at the end of the day, whether you say, oh, what he stood on was right or wrong, he had people within his camp saying, hey, look, just try to do it like this so we don't ruffle any feathers. And he said, screw that. I'm doing it this way because this is what I stand on. It resulted in him being out of the ring for 3.5 years. It resulted in him doing some jail time. And it resulted in him in losing his belt. Those aren't good feelings. Well, what I had to explain to her is I said, of that time, he didn't get his flowers of standing on that civil rights movement until 30, 40 years later. He had still had to serve the punishment of standing on that. So I told her what I'm standing on, I may have to serve the punishment of it, but you never know. 30 years from now, they may have the Willie Monroe Jr. Act where managers can't screw over fighters. But if Willie Monroe would have never stood up to the manager that did this to him and made it public, there probably would never be a Willie Monroe Jr. Act that protects fighters and managers. I said that may happen 30 years from now. We have the Muhammad Ali Act because of what he stood on. I said, so you can't you can't really you know, judge a person in a moment because they may be 20, 30 light years ahead of you. And what they're standing on may stand for something stronger in the future. So I say all of that to say the future is forever change. You know, we don't know what the future brings, and we're always prisoners to the present. So I think just like this Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford fight, you know, with so many people with opinions right now, I think we should all just be happy that the state that boxing is in, where they're letting YouTubers come in and fight, and there's more YouTubers filling an arena to watch YouTubers fight than actual fight fans filling an arena to watch fighters fight. And if, at a time like this, you have Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. We should be looking at these guys as Superman, as Superman versus Batman or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
At this level, because you have two authentic, real fighters getting ready to put it all on the line during a really, really clown time of boxing. We're living at a very this is polarizing.
Oh
Everybody wants
man.
to see these YouTubers and we have a real fight at this time. We have a real classic. Nobody should be complaining. Everybody should be getting their popcorn and their Coke for not for November 19th, ready to sit there and enjoy a phenomenal show.
Well, see, I'm gonna grab my Pepsi. So okay,
Okay.
but just a couple of things that I want to address there because of course, as you can see, or people that know me know that I'm a Vietnam veteran, and
Thank you.
in 1968,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in July of 1968, I was in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And if people remember, Detroit was on fire
Right.
at that particular time.
I don't remember. I wasn't born, but I've read a lot.
Yeah,
Read and watched a lot.
by November 30th of 1968,
Mm-hmm.
I was in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
When I got ready for my tour to be over with, I'm from Newark. Newark is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
I felt safer in Vietnam than I did coming back home. And then when I got back home, to have people, spit on me at the airport and call me baby killer and all that. I mean, you talk about things that 30 years later. Well, it was 50 years
Mm-hmm.
before I heard the words "Welcome home."
Wow.
But going back to the Muhammad Ali situation,
Thank you for your service, also.
I appreciate that. Like I said, it was a different era when we came home. But when you
Right.
speak about Muhammad Ali, most black soldiers understood what he was saying and why he didn't. We didn't resent, or it was the people in America,
Right.
the people here that persecuted Muhammad Ali
Right.
because we understood what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I mean, most of us, if you came back home in 68, 69, or 70, and you were from Los Angeles, you were from Chicago, you were from Philly, you was from Atlanta, most neighborhoods were burning,
Man.
or I mean, under such racial tension,
Mm-hmm.
even more than it is now. So, like I said, we understood that, and like he did get the Muhammad Ali Act,
Right.
against uh, 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 King. I want to say.
But it was against it was to protect fighters and make sure that fighters knew the money that was coming in
Right,
because
Don King.
yeah,
Yeah,
Don
yeah,
King was
yeah.
getting the big money from the. I don't know how true it was, but I guess he was getting the
Oh,
money from the networks. But
Don King was selling guys 110% of themselves,
yeah,
and I mean, I'm from Cleveland. Well, I'm from Youngstown, but Ohio.
right.
So I remember a lot of the things that Don King did. As a matter of fact. I was in the same prison that Don King was in
Mm,
in Ohio. So, Don King, shrewd operator, not always, but anyway, and we have to congratulate you also, like you said, for standing up
thank you.
and and speaking out, man. I mean, it's do you think that these young fighters do you think that this is one of the reasons why you see so many guys self-promoting themselves and do you think that uh, I hate to say it, but do you think that maybe uh, that part of the promoter, I mean, that extra what 10% or whatever the promoter takes. Do you think that these guys are taking control of their own destiny, and how does that fit into your plan? I mean, is that part of your plan without, unless it might be confidential, but is that part of your plan to give fighters more control of their own destiny?
Yeah, well, to give the fighters more control, that's definitely my plan. But give fighters more destiny. I mean, more control of their destiny in their life. Boxing is what we do for a short period of time. It's not who we are. And when you can get a fighter to understand that, you can get them to move differently. There's gonna come a time when there's no longer, you're not gonna be able to fight. Nobody can fight forever. So you get them to believe in themselves and the destiny of themselves rather than just being a fighter. Is that the original question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And how is that part of your preparation for them all, after,
Oh,
taking
and my bad. I knew it was something else you asked. You were talking about like social media and being their own promoter, and
yeah.
yeah, I think that works. I think that's a phenomenal thing. I think I mean, the promoters may not like the fact that they can't control it, but I think one promoter trying to control five or six, the destiny of five or six or 20 different fighters, I think it's just preposterous, and it leaves a lot of people left in the dark. So I think they should let these fighters promote themselves because no one knows a fighter better than he knows himself. And I think it lays a little bit of work off of the promoter, and then it leaves the promoter the time to go and make sure that he's more or less protecting his fighter rather than just promoting him, making sure he has the autonomy. I think fighters having autonomy is needed. Because it allows and fighters are pretty much whatever happens to them is blamed on them anyway, whether they win or lose. It's like when you win with everyone, but when you lose alone, and the blame is on you. So if you're gonna leave me that heavy, at least actually leave me with the responsibility, not just the responsibility of when I lose. You know.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, hey, man, I'm glad you took the time to come on and talk with us a little bit, man. Tell us a little bit. I see you got brick by brick up there, and I know that's part of your. Is that part of your program for a boxer to build his career brick by brick?
Yeah, I said that after a fight because, my whole career I've been pretty much a junior middleweight fighting at middleweight and super middleweight. And the guy said, "Well, you only got 6 knockouts. You don't have any power." And I'm like, "Well, I'm fighting guys bigger than me, so for me to be knocking them out like the way a guy their size would knock them out is a little bit of a far shot. But brick by brick, I'm gonna get the job done, whether they're bigger than me or my size. Brick by brick, you just keep building, and that's my fraternity too. So it just teaches you to build it. If you look at any structures in the world, you look at the pyramids, you look at the cathedrals in Europe, you look at all of the different things that were built by brick and stone. They withstood the test of time and weather, and nothing is knocked them over, and they're still there. So if you build yourself solidly brick by brick in that way, no matter what the world brings your way, you'll always be solid. You got to be the third little pig. The first little pigs, they messed up. You got to be that third little pig.
Patience and persistence, huh?
Yes, sir. Brick by brick, one step at a time to get there.
All right, my brother. Great talking to you as always. Look forward to talking to you again. Do you got anything coming up? Any type of events or anything on social media that we should know about?
Um, just follow me. Oh, yo, excuse me for saying yo, but you know
That's all
what?
right.
Is the thing that's really cool that I've stepped into and I'm getting more comfortable with is virtual training. I had a few clients that I trained, throughout my whole career. I have a few clients here and there that I personally trained, privately. And it was suggested to me like, man, you should try to train people online. And I was just like, nah, you know what I mean? I'm not. And then a good friend of mine, she was like, I'm telling you, the girls love it because they don't have to go anywhere and meet, because sometimes girls don't like going to meet male personal trainers in person, and their boyfriends or husbands may not be so. But
Yeah.
man, like it's really picked up. I have about a good solid 8 clients
Hey
right
man, too
now.
many Deshaun Watsons out there, man. Come on now, you
Yeah, man.
know.
Hey, but yeah, that's been going well. So if anyone needs personal training, they can definitely hit me up. It's been really, really fun for me. So I'm having fun with that. It's pretty cool. And I want to give my condolences. I forget the kid's names, but I think his last name is Jones from Detroit.
Oh yeah,
He was
yeah.
killed by a
Killed by one of his family members. Yeah,
yeah.
I was just looking at that.
Condolences to his family. You know what I mean? And that's an instant and sudden. You don't want to lose anyone, but that's sad.
Yeah, most definitely. But Detroit boxer Isaiah Jones shot and killed
Yeah,
during a family dispute. Yeah, it just came out on Ring magazine just before I came on the air.
yeah,
So yeah, that's it's always sad to especially and being rather blunt, especially when it happens within the black neighborhood.
yeah,
You know, I think sometimes people forget that white people kill each other too, but
yeah,
it always gets that extra attention when it
yeah,
comes from a minority neighborhood. So
yeah,
I'm with you. Condolences to the family. And
yeah.
hey, man, as I said, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show. And I hope to have you back again, man.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
You have a great night, man. Go take care of the kids, and make sure give everybody an extra hug.
Yes,
You know,
sir. I
you
promise.
you never know what tomorrow brings.
That's true.
Like you say, you give them your flowers now. You
Yes, sir.
you have a great night, man.
Yes, sir. You do the same.
All right.
Right.
Um, two great young men from the state of Minnesota, Caleb Truax and Willie Monroe Jr., representing that young men within our genre within our neck of the woods. Young black men can do good and also give back after they've done their own thing. So thank everyone for tuning in tonight to the Pugilist Corner. We'll try to get Mr. Fort on another day, or at least uh, he had an emergency today, and maybe we can connect up with three other young men within the state of Minnesota. It's not all about the negative. So have a great night, everyone, and we look forward to talking to you once again on the Pugilist Corner.